Hey everyone, Giacomo here for STL Tones. This month in AmpHub we have something really exciting, the Cali Mach 2CP. This amp is based on one of the most iconic high-gain amps ever made, famous for its power, flexibility and unique feel. What makes this model special is how much control you have over shaping your sound, starting with the graphic equalizer. You have the equalizer switch on the right side of the interface, and this switch is a three-way switch, so we can have three different behaviors of the equalizer. With the switch in the top position, the equalizer is always active, so both on the rhythm channel and on the lead channel. With the switch in the bottom position, the EQ is off for every channel and every mode, but there's a third way, the middle position of the switch, that only kicks in when you are on the lead channel. So this equalizer is a super handy way to instantly change the character of the amp without touching a single knob. EQ is like a classic 5-band equalizer, meaning of course that you can adjust 5 distinct frequency ranges using these ladders here, and each band lets you cut or boost by 15 dB. Frequencies included are 80 Hz, 230 Hz, 730 Hz, 2.2K and 6.6K. So we can cover pretty everything from deep bass to highs. What makes this EQ particularly musical and very useful is how it's integrated into the amp's chain. This EQ is located between the preamp and the power amp. So that positioning means you're shaping not just the final sound, so it's not just a post EQ after the amp, but since it's placed, as I just said, between the preamp and the power amp, you are controlling also how the distortion and dynamics respond, because you like controlling how much frequencies are hitting the power amplifier. So it's like a tone sculpting at the fundamental tactile level. Who usually plays these amps often dialing the classic V curve, something like what I did in this preset that you can listen in some minutes. So boosting a tiny bit lows and highs and scooping out the mids, which became, the signature sound for heavy rock and early metal. It's like a bold, aggressive and still iconic sound today. Let's have a listen of a tone that I'm pretty sure reminds you something. Alright, now let's go through the controls on the new Cali Mach 2CP here in AmpHub. We start with volume 1, which sets the bass gain for both modes. If you pull it, you get a bright boost, perfect for adding a bit of sparkle, especially on clean or breakup tones. Next up is the treble, bass and middle section. This is your main tone stack, but in this circuit it sits before the distortion stage, so every adjustment here shapes how the gain reacts. This concept is very crucial to understand how this amp works and taking out the best of it. It might be a bit different from the usual way of tweaking the EQ section. You will often see, for example, bass very close to zero, but in general just remember that this kind of EQ on this specific amp family is something that requires a bit probably more time to understand what's going on, since once again, the tone stack, the EQ section, is placed before the distortion stage. So basically, these controls let you increase the gain. For example, that's something that usually not happens dialing EQ on regular amplifiers. So these are just some things to keep in mind when dialing tones with the Cali Mach 2C+. The bass knob has a pull dip for extra low end and weight. We have the switches right here, and when we engage the switch, the pot, of course, gets virtually pulled out from its regular position. Treble have this shift switch right on top, right here, that of course add some excitement to trebles, but this control is only working in the lead mode, so it's not working on the first channel of the amp. That's something important to notice, and of course the visual feedback clearly indicates in every scenario if the switch has been engaged or not. For the bass, I recommend it keeping on the lower side of the pot. You definitely and surely notice how it reacts if you push it too far. So it's just my 2 cents on giving particular attention on the bass control, especially for rhythm tones, heavily distorted tones. So my usual approach is to first find a sweet spot with the main EQ section, and then mostly using the graphic EQ for the overall tone shaping, almost flipping the way you'd normally approach EQ on a traditional amplifier, but that's it, and that's my usual way to dial in tones with the Cali Mach 2CP. Then we have the Master 1 that controls the rhythm channel volume, and pulling it gives you a different shape on the bass frequencies. There's the lead drive, which sets how much extra gain you get in the lead mode. If you pull it, of course, you can switch into the lead mode instantly, and exploring like some of the best tones ever for heavy rock and early metal tones. Lead Master takes care of the lead channel's overall volume, and pulling it engages a bright boost that adds some kind of bite and sustain. I mean, it's something very great to experiment with. I'm usually using it for liquid solos, but also for some rhythm tones. I mean, it's something to experiment, and that's the kind of vibe of this amp. There's a lot of controls, a lot of switches. The tone stack is particular, so I'll encourage you really to explore every kind of setting and tone possibility with this specific amp. Finally, we have the presence control that fine-tunes the high-end character coming from the power section, so it's a pretty powerful control, as usually with the presence control on amplifiers, so be sure to set it once properly explored and understood, because it's pretty intense. So this amp, it might be technically a single channel amp, but with all these options, it's a real tone playground, and that's what makes it so much fun to explore. Now let's take a listen on a lead tone, not the most heavily saturated or particularly rich in gain, but it's like a very articulate with a great attack, perfectly focused. I really in love with it. What I really love about this amp is how much of a chameleon it can be. It can go from full-on heavy metal to a lead tone like this we just listened, which instantly reminds me of those smooth studio sessions sounds from 80s LA. In fact, this amp was used by many legends recording in some of the city's top studios. So don't underestimate it, because it's not just aggressive and metal, there's so much versatility under the hood to explore. This switch on the very right side of the amplifier, the class switch. Let's switch to the class A plus AB mode for a clean tone that instantly reminds me some of the great records. This mode is a particular mode that simultaneously lets run 2 power classes at the same time, specifically class A and class AB. In simple terms, this system blends 2 power amp styles at once, so part of the tubes running class AB for probably power and headroom, while the others running class A for warmth and sweetness. So together they create a tone that feels deep, dynamic and incredibly responsive under your fingers. Let's take a listen. I really love these clean tones. It felt detailed, round, present, and with just a touch of effects, I mean, it can create a sonic dimension that I think will be really exciting to explore and to dive deep in, because it offers like a wide range of tones. And be sure to explore a lot the class mode, because it really makes a difference between the tones. It basically ends up on your favorite tone, on what you're looking for when dialing tones with this amp, but it's such a powerful control that like changes how the amp reacts. So be sure to check it out properly and explore every tone you can get from the different class modes. And finally, let me show you something this amp has always been loved for: those liquid, creamy leads with endless sustain. They've been a signature for many players who use this amp, but especially for one who truly made it his trademark. Let's give it a listen. And that's it for this video. The Cali Mach 2CP is a beast of an amp, full of controls and of course that unique EQ section, which makes it really stand out. It sounds phenomenal and delivers a wide range of tones, way more versatile than you might expect. The Cali Mach 2CP is now available in AmpHub, so head over to the STL Tones website, download the latest update and enjoy it. I'm Giacomo and I'll see you in the next video.